can I go ahead and get you to state and spell your name, please?
Chad Haney, ChadHaynie.
All right. And what's your official title
For softball,
for softball?
I'm the play-by-play announcer for Alabama softball.
Okay. What's your other title?
Sports director at WVUA FM.
Okay. All right. What exactly? Well, let's talk about a little bit about your softball play-by-play caller. What exactly do you do?
I'm the voice of Alabama softball for all home and away games. At home, I do play-by-play, and then I have a second broadcaster that will do play-by-play for, a few innings in the middle of the game. On the road, I do the entire game by myself, do pre-game, including a taped interview with Coach Murphy, and post-game, usually do an interview with a player and or coach and go over stats and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're the head honcho, basically.
Yeah.
All right. So how long have you been the play-by-play announcer for the team?
Last year was my first year on play-by-play. A year before that, I did color. And a year before that, I actually worked with softball just outside of the radio booth. So.
And can you go ahead and explain color for us a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, colors just, especially for someone that hadn't played the game of softball, is really just trying to bring as much baseball knowledge and kind of convert it into softball. And just add in things that is kind of either missing in play-by-play or is extra to the play-by-play.
Yeah, all right. And so can you talk a little bit about your preparation for each game? Like what exactly do you do, how long it'll take before the pregame?
Yeah. It kind of varies depending on who we're playing. Softball, you play a lot of preseason, or not preseason, but non-conference tournaments before you actually get into conference play. And for that, it's kind of hard to prepare for every single team because you might be playing 5 different teams in a weekend. So that might be kind of more of a general overview, kind of try to look at their notes as much as possible for each team, kind of hit on who their big players are and maybe who's returning from last year that had a great season. For conference play, sometimes I'll get to see them on TV beforehand, or if not, go on and try to watch a little bit online. And, really hit hard their stats, everyone's bio for the entire team, and really set up a sheet that has a breakdown of everyone. It's something notable about every single player that I can hit on during the game.
Okay, yeah, and that would be the biggest thing that I would say is a scorecard. Like you
Yeah.
said, fill out the scorecard, and exactly how long would that take? Because I know a couple of people in the same business who it takes them a pretty good while, even though it seems like it wouldn't be that hard of a task. It takes them a couple of hours to actually fill out their own stat sheet.
Yeah, probably the way I really like to do it. It takes about 2.5 hours to get it done for one opponent, and that's probably getting it done pretty quick still. I know other people. The guy at Florida, their play-by-play guy, is a good friend of mine, and he does a card for every single player on an opponent, and that probably takes a little more time. So it just really depends on how your style is, what you like to have set up.
Yeah, that does seem like a lot for every player.
Yeah.
Wow, that's dedication right there.
Yeah.
But all right, and for the pregame, what would you do normally? Just a everyday pregame.
Usually try to recap the last game a little bit. Look ahead, talk about the opponent for this game, talk about what's happening for Alabama, who's been hot lately, any big storylines that are carrying over from the last few weeks. If we're getting close to conference play or close to a big game coming up, maybe kind of touch on that a little bit. And then, of course, as well, we have, an interview with Murph and kind of do all of that in there as well.
All right, and of course, generally a softball game runs about 2 hours, 2 to 2.5.
Yeah, they can vary
Yeah.
pretty. We've had one as quick, I think, as 1:18, and then we've had them go I think near 4 hours. We had 2 games down at LSU last year that went 14 innings. That lasted forever. So it can vary a good bit, just kind of depending on the pace of the game. But
Yeah.
usually they are a lot quicker than college baseball.
Yeah, 14 innings, that's a long time. I played high school baseball.
Yeah.
We only play 7.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the same
I
as
can only
softball.
imagine.
Yeah,
That's a doozy of a game there.
yeah, it was.
All right, well, can you talk a little bit about how you decided that you wanted to be a play-by-play announcer, or just, if it fell in your lap?
Yeah, it kind of did really fall in my lap. I was working in media relations at the university starting in 2008, and I worked that spring in softball doing scoreboard and some other stuff for them, and ended up getting to go on the road to Georgia Tech. And then when the College World Series came, my boss, Skip Powers, said he kind of needed some help out there, and I offered to go, and was fortunate enough to get out there. And then the next year, I started going on the road doing color and for the radio broadcast. And last year, I took over play-by-play, and that's kind of how it started.
That's a mighty fast road right there.
Yeah, it
fast
was.
Track. And when did you make the decision that you wanted to do this, or was it kind of like you just said? Did you already know beforehand?
Yeah.
Did you have some hint that you wanted to do a play-by-play announcer, or that you didn't really know, but circumstances just fell in the right place at the right time?
Yeah, I was kind of always into broadcasting. I started in middle school, doing stuff, and then was in high school, all 4 years doing it. And then in college, I kind of got away from it. I went to another school and then transferred to Alabama, and really just kind of wound my way back around to it. And even when I was in media relations, it was still, rather than kind of going the student media route there, I went into media relations, got a job there, and loved it, and made a lot of connections there. And but it was still always kind of in my mind that that's what I wanted to go back to. And when the opportunity presented itself to take over softball, kind of jumped on it.
All right. And let's go ahead and talk about the team a little bit. So
Okay.
you do know some of them personally, right?
Yeah.
All right. And well, who would you say is the most fun to be around?
Most fun to be around. She's a graduate assistant now, graduated last year. Whitney Larson's up there. Jen Fenton is kind of a jokester. Amanda Locke is really kind of a team clown as well. So they're all kind of, that little group right there is pretty fun.
All right, 3 people.
Yeah.
Who would you say would be the most focused?
Most focused, I would definitely go with Cassie Riley-Boscia. She's a senior this year. And really, she was, sorry, my phone went off. Cassie, even in her freshman year, was focused, and then came back her sophomore year, just worked tremendously throughout the off season in between her freshman and sophomore years, getting fit, came back in great shape. And her last 2 years, she's really been spectacular. Has always started off the season really well, and had strong years.
Yeah. All right, and let's go more about the softball aspect. Who would you say is the best fielder?
The best fielder. Last year, going off statistics, it would have to be Caleb Rowe. Didn't commit an error in left field, her first time ever playing in left field, and she didn't commit an error until the regional in NCAA play. And it was pretty spectacular because she learned the game new and had never played outfield before, always played infield, and really struggled her freshman year playing second base, had a lot of errors. And, that kind of had a little bit to do with her shift out to the outfield. But with her speed out there, not a whole lot gets down. And when it does, she's pretty quick to get the ball back in, has a cannon, and has thrown some people out at home.
So you said all the way through regionals. About how many games is that? Just for not.
That's over 50 games.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
actually close to 60.
That's impressive right
Yeah.
there. for anybody who knows anything about softball. Baseball.
Absolutely.
That is impressive. And lastly, well, actually, rather, second last, best overall player.
That's tough. I'd probably have to go with Bro again. She's the leadoff hitter. She's a stud. She can do just about anything. She can doesn't have a ton of speed. Turn this off and start over.